All right, so I spoke with a very nice right-wing conservative Zionist named Rebecca Barsef a few days ago. I highly recommend you watch this conversation. Apart from some annoying interruptions, I think it was a very fruitful and productive conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but there were some things she said that just didn't sit well with me. I can't say they were totally illogical. They made sense, but maybe that's just my Western bias talking, that secular liberal democracy is the only game in town. Perhaps I am too idealistic. Call it brainwashing if you will, but the idea that only Jewish people and Arab Israelis would have voting rights for the first 20 years and the Palestinians wouldn't is unfathomable to me. First of all, I want you to have a look at this clip where Rebecca talks about how Israel should annex the West Bank and Gaza and annex the populations living there, which is about 7 million Palestinian people, and then deprive them of voting rights for at least 10, 15, or however long it takes to de-radicalize them, and then give them voting rights.
The truth is, it's not annexed because Israel is being held at a gunpoint. It's very limited in what it can do. It would have been annexed if Israel could have done what it really wants to do. You don't give voting rights right away to a population that doesn't understand democracy. It takes time. It takes a generation or two. And then after a generation...
You're basically saying that if we annex the West Bank and Gaza, to my understanding, I don't think Israel wanted to do that, but let's just go with your line of reasoning. And then you're saying that, okay, once we annex that, because we're held at a gunpoint, that's the reason why we haven't annexed it yet. But the people who live in those territories, they will not have voting rights.
Exactly. For several...
You understand that that is literally what apartheid means. She used a past precedent saying that when Israel came into existence back in 1948, Arab Israelis did not have voting rights. I haven't been able to fully confirm it yet. I've been reading some conflicting information. Some people say that they did have voting rights. Not only they voted, but also took some political positions. And then we have some other people who say it was only a minority that did have voting rights. So I don't know. Let's just put that aside for a moment. So that's a one-state solution in effect. Then I got to thinking, isn't a one-state solution demanded by the majority of Palestinians as well? If that's the case, then you both agree. The only difference is that the right-wing conservative Zionists like Rebecca would not give you voting rights for the first 15 or 20 years or so until Muslims get de-radicalized. Muslims, however, on the other hand, also want a one-state solution with full democratic voting rights from the get-go. Okay, so there's only a 20-year difference. I think this could be spoken about, because if I were a Muslim, I would say, okay, fine. Give us all permanent residence and sure, withhold our voting rights for the first 20 years. My main problem with Rebecca was I just couldn't conceive the idea that some citizens could have voting rights while other people could not. I just couldn't imagine that. But someone in the comments said that it's actually not that inconceivable to deny someone voting rights, because in Western countries like Australia, you don't immediately get voting rights. You have to be a permanent resident for 5 years at least. I know it's not exactly the same, but you have to work with me. For the first 5 years, you have full rights. You have Medicare, you have taxation rights, you have everything a normal Aussie can do. But you don't have voting rights. A lot can happen in those 5 years. The governments actually do that because they want to know that you, an incoming citizen, want to live here permanently like a law-abiding citizen. If you slip up or commit a crime, your permanent residence could actually get cancelled as well. So I got to thinking, okay, I don't see Australia as an apartheid country. So if Israel does something similar to that, I know it's not exactly like that, but you got to work with me. Then, okay, that maybe I shouldn't call Israel an apartheid country, because I don't see Australia as an apartheid country, even though I understand those people are coming from foreign countries into Australia as opposed to them being natives to Australia like the Palestinians are to Palestine. I get that. This is not an easy problem to solve, so let's just work with that. Okay, so we give permanent residence to 7 million Palestinian people living in the West Bank and Gaza with no voting rights for first 20 years. Okay, so far so good. The first problem they're going to run into is, what should we call this country? Palesrael? That doesn't sound right. Israel-Palestine? Okay, that's not bad. Israel-Palestine? What do you reckon? Israel-Palestine, that consists of Golan Heights, the West Bank, Gaza, and mainland Israel. Israel-Palestine. Okay, let's go with that. Okay, once you've decided what are you going to call this new country, you would hope that 7 million Palestinians who haven't had voting rights for the last 20 years get de-radicalized and become modern citizens of Israel-Palestine? I think it's highly unlikely. The right-wing conservative Zionists are being fools here, because if I were a Muslim, I would say, okay, fine, all I have to do is pretend that I am getting de-radicalized, bide my time for 20 years, and then boom, Allahu Akbar. I am saying that because I'm an ex-Muslim. I know how Islam works. There are thinkers and philosophers within the Muslim world who genuinely believe that they can just bide their time for 20, 30 years or even until 2050, and then Europe will be theirs. They genuinely believe that. It's not a far-fetched idea. You can see Muslims constantly boast about it. They don't even hide it. Have a look at this guy.
So would you like to see Sharia law in Canada replace Canadian law?
At some point it will. You know, because we have families, we are making babies. You're not. Your population is going down the slump, right? By 2060, Muslims will be the biggest religious group the world over. What are you going to do then?
If your religion has to have an expansionist element, so then therefore there is no situation or conceivability of peace being made between Muslims and non-Muslims.
If they refuse, then we have to fight. And if we fight you, then we capture you, you become our slaves, and we take your land, and you take because you refuse. I give you two good options in the coming 40, 50 years when the Muslims become strong as they're supposed to be.
Britain is the enemy. I'm living in enemy territory, and that when the time is right, we will all rise up and fight jihad, violent jihad, against the non-Muslims.
And this is what you're being taught from 6 years old in a mosque in London.
Both at mosque and at home, yes.
So this idea of biding your time is not a far-fetched idea. So what makes these foolish conservative Zionists think that they can de-radicalize Muslims? I don't think it works that way. This is why I and most neutral observers think that the two-state solution is the only game in town. Yes, I understand it comes with certain risks. Some people say that the West Bank is a higher ground, making it very difficult to stop rockets coming into Israel from the West Bank. But it's still better than having Greater Israel with 7 more Muslims within your borders. Let's just run the scenario of Israel-Palestine. Israel-Palestine has been around for 20 years. Many Israelis might think at that point that 9 million Palestinians are on the same page as them, believing in this united, secular, democratic Republic of Israel-Palestine. But some people will say, hang on, a significant portion of this population is still very radical, and we cannot give them voting rights because who knows who will they vote? You're only one movement, one insurgency away from losing your entire damn country. At that point, what are you going to do? I think you'll have two options. You give them voting rights, and now they're in political offices, the bureaucracy, and even in the military, because then you wouldn't be able to say, hey, you know, we'll take care of the military side of things. No, now they're equal citizens. They would say, sorry, we're 55%, we decide. And you wouldn't be able to do anything. The second option, round them up and put them in concentration camps. How's that going to go? Is the world going to let you do that in 2040 or even 2050? Of course not. Which means this idea is awfully stupid and you'd lose your country. I heard Ishai Fleischer, I think his name was, say after annexing Gaza and the West Bank, we'll give them permanent residence, but they will never have voting rights. Unlike Rebecca, who said 20 years, he said never. Sorry, the world cannot accept that. You can't have everything, even though I agree that you have a strong argument. But we can't allow that. So no, I don't think it's a feasible solution. The right-wing conservative Zionists are being, fools here. This is why I genuinely hope that what Rebecca said is not a popular view among Israelis. But I read a lot of comments. People who look like they were Israeli right-wingers agreed with Rebecca's views. So this must be the view of the far right, which may not be a majority, but still, they believe in that, but that is a very naive way of thinking. This is probably why the political elite in Israel have not really formally put the solution forward to the Palestinians, because again, if I were a Palestinian, I don't think that's such a difficult demand to accept. This is why the smart political elite, centrists, or maybe even leftists have been trying to kick the can down the road. Either kick the can down the road, or you would eventually have to move towards a two-state solution, because you can't live with them. You two can't live together. In fact, Muslims can't live with any other religion. Once they cross a certain population threshold, it's game over for the locals. You can see that in India, Europe, and so many other places. So this is why I think the two-state solution is the only solution. You can't live with them, so separate them. Yes, it comes with certain risks, but you're going to have to learn to live with it, because it's either that or total extinction. You would go extinct. These people who think that they can de-radicalize Muslims, even de-radicalized Muslims would not want to live side by side with a Jewish community. These 20% Arab Israelis, sorry, no offense, that's a mirage. I don't fully buy that. If the same 20% Arab Israelis became 40, 50, 60%, it's game over for you. Israel will not be as peaceful as it is now, unless they become ex-Muslims, and it's a totally different ballgame. Okay, you know what? Let me give the conservative right wing some hope. I stand by my earlier claim that Muslims, radical or moderate, will not live side by side with Jews. Okay, you got that? However, ex-Muslims will. Let's run our earlier Israel-Palestine scenario again. The year is 2050, and it seems that the Muslim population is significantly de-radicalized. There are some pockets, 5 to 10% here and there, who are really hardcore right-wing Muslims, but a vast percentage of Muslims have actually left Islam and become ex-Muslims. That is the only hope you people have. If 30 to 40% of Muslims become ex-Muslims, then that's the only time when Israelis or Jewish people would have any support from Muslims, who would technically be ex-Muslims. For example, me, even when I was a liberal Muslim, even when I had become an ex-Muslim and hadn't looked into this Israel-Palestine conflict thoroughly, I still held some resentment towards Jewish people. I did. I admit it. It's only when I became an ex-Muslim, a rationalist, an open-minded free thinker, and after looking into the dispute, only then I said, hang on a second, I think Jewish people also deserve a homeland. Anyway, that's the only hope you have. Is it going to happen? I don't know. I'm not a prophet. But are you willing to gamble with your country's existence? Us ex-Muslims, even the most optimistic of us, can't say that 30 to 40% of Muslims will become ex-Muslims by 2040 or even 2050. I can't tell you whether these people you plan to de-radicalize will be de-radicalized or not. Even moderate Muslims hold strong Palestinian nationalistic views and strong anti-Jewish, anti-Israeli views. And I'm talking about moderate Muslims. Muslims who don't look like they're radicalized. So what hope do you have that they'll all turn out like 20% Arab Israelis? Out of those 20% Arab Israelis, I don't think all of them are pro-Israel either. They could have just put it on the back burner. They could just be like, okay, well, since we can't really win this war, so we just got to get on with our lives. Their kids in 20, 30 years' time, you don't know how they're going to turn out, because Islam is a very dominant religion. It doesn't like to live with anyone else, let alone Jews. The only way they will not turn out to be anti-Jewish or anti-Israelis is when they become ex-Muslims. Will they become ex-Muslims? I guess that's a $1 trillion question. I'll leave that to you. This is why the two-state solution is the best solution for all parties. The longer you try to maintain the status quo, the harder it is going to be for you to maintain the support of the rest of the world. The support for Israel, even in the West, is waning. And I don't think you'll have much left by 2050. I know all of you guys, you probably are not liking what I'm saying, but I'm just being realistic. Have you ever wondered how Russia got so big? Check this video I made a little while ago. I'm sure you'll like it. Or check this video out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, ta-da.